You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com.
This is the Washington Times front page for Tuesday, June 11th, 2024. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. Jurors in the Hunter Biden federal gun trial began their deliberations after prosecutors and defense attorneys made their closing arguments. Jeff Murdoch reports Biden declined to testify in his defense as both sides took more than an hour to lay out their arguments to jurors. Biden faces 3 felony charges arising from his purchase of a handgun in 2018. Prosecutors have charged him with illegally possessing a gun as a drug user and lying about his drug addiction at the time of the purchase. If convicted on all counts, he faces a maximum of 25 years in prison, but as a first-time offender, he'd likely receive little, if any, time in prison. The fallout in France is just one of the startling gains made by far-right parties across Europe after European Parliament elections. French President Emmanuel Macron has dissolved the French Parliament and called for a snap legislative election after his Renaissance Party garnered less than half the support of far-right rival Marine Le Pen's National Rally Party. Macron will have 3 years left in his term and now will have to find a way to work with a prime minister from a party that deeply opposes most of his policies. In the past, voters have been more likely to cast protest votes in elections for the EU Parliament than in national votes. Federal prosecutors have won a 3-year prison sentence against a social media swatter who gained internet fame by broadcasting himself as he made bogus police reports. Stephen Diner reports 21-year-old Ashton Garcia attempted at least 20 swattings. Among his targets were an 8-year-old boy and a teacher who had survived a school shooting. The conviction and prison sentence mark a relatively rare win at the federal level. Prosecutors and the judge in the case said they hoped Garcia's sentence would send a message. The Department of Energy is trying to squeeze more savings out of LED light bulbs, telling manufacturers to nearly triple the number of LED lumens per watt by July 2028. Susan Ferricchio reports the requirement would increase the lumens per watt from 45 to 120 in just 4 years. Energy Department officials say the move will save $27 billion on Americans' utility bills and 70 million metric tons in carbon dioxide emissions over 30 years. The number of households relying on LED lighting is projected to increase now that the Biden administration has banned incandescent bulbs and is phasing out compact fluorescent bulbs, which cost less than LEDs but contain mercury. Approximately half of all U.S. households use LED bulbs. And finally, former President Trump is within striking distance of President Biden in Minnesota, lending weight to the idea that the Republican could put Democratic-friendly territory into play this fall. Seth MacLachlan reports a Minneapolis Star-Tribune, NPR News, KARE poll released this week shows Biden leading Trump 45% to 41% among likely voters in the state, with 7% undecided. Richard Nixon in 1972 was the last Republican to win Minnesota in a presidential race. Find all of today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.
That's the sound of your current hype level at the gas pump. But brace yourself for something fuel-nominal, because Unleaded 88 is about to take the hype to a whole new level. Unleaded 88 is cheaper, cleaner, and greener than regular unleaded. Plus, it's homegrown, making Unleaded 88 the clear choice at the pump and totally worth the hype. So pump it up with Unleaded 88, brought to you by Iowa Corn.